I have a testimony. It's really nice to be standing in a vertical position. See, because this past week, I think it was, I don't know, Barb, what day was it? Wednesday or something. Anyway, a day last week, I was on my way over to church on my motorcycle, and about 20th Avenue on Baldwin, I was stung by a bee in the back of my neck, right here, base of the head. And, whoa, that hurt like crazy. And whoa, okay. I show up at church, and because I had my motorcycle, I did not have my key to get into the building. And knowing me, I didn't know we have good security in this building, therefore I don't have the access code to get in. Now that's what I call buttoning this thing up. Well, basically what happened is I tried to get a hold of somebody. They were getting some well-needed time off, and so I'm standing there by the keypad and going, whoa, I'm feeling lightheaded. I walked into the parking lot there, and that a van pulls in and makes a big loop. Now, I find out later the reason why they were there is because, did anyone ever hear of Pokemon? Did you know that our church sign is a Pokemon pickup center? Later on this week, I had a guy show me who was parked outside, which I witnessed to, and I loaded our church app on because he was showing me the Pokemon thing. He showed our sign. He says, if you spin the Pokemon, the GCF sign, you get two things. You get healing, and you get a magic potion, whatever. I'm just saying, But that's just funny to me. But so this van pulled in, and they were turning around just as I sort of went out into the parking lot. I was feeling really lightheaded and woozy. And so I ended up going in a zombie-like way toward the car. And somehow the woman left quickly. And she was afraid. She saw the fear in my eyes because I was blacking out. I was starting to lose my vision. And then so I walked up, didn't know what to do. I walked up to the road and flagged a cop as he went down Baldwin, and sure enough, he waved back. Then I realized I was about ready to lose it, so I thought I would better run across the road. Now, Norma and Ray said they did see me standing there thinking I was running over there for cucumbers like I always go to the vegetable stand. And they were there right there, so they saw me as I'm standing right there as I took off across the road. The reason I ran is because I didn't want to fall in the middle of the road. I wanted to make sure that my inertia at least got me across. I got to the other side, leaned against the stand, and handed my phone and said, I got stung by a bee, I think I'm having a heart attack, and we call 911. And I basically hit the ground. I could hardly see anything. I could hardly move. I'm laying there, and now the blur that happened after that, with the ambulance coming and working and trying to get my vitals back with a blood level, because I got to the point where it was my oxygen level, I think, was 60 or something like that, and my blood pressure is like 33/60 or something like that. In other words, the stuff that you're saying, sayonara, Jesus, hello God, I'm coming home. And I couldn't hardly see. But the interesting thing is this. If that's not interesting enough. But my wife gets a call from the lady, and she gets a heart attack by your husband was on a motorcycle, and I've got his phone here, and he's here right now, and the paramedics, they're working on him right now, trying to. My wife and Jessica got over there quickly, but I couldn't even. I was. This is the funny thing. We need to be confident and not be afraid when things happen, because the devil can't take us out. God knows the number of our days, and being anxious does not add one bit to it, but trusting God. And I did tell that to my wife later on when we laid in bed later on that night with me. Okay. But I said, you need to be comforted to know that God has a provision for us ahead of time and knows what's coming down the pike. So so the lady ended up, who pulled in immediately for the Pokemon site. When she left afraid of me, her daughter said, "Mom, you've got to go back and help him."
Thank you, Jesus.
So that person who was there right away turned back and showed up because his daughter saw me fall. And she happened to be allergic to shellfish and had an EpiPen with her, which is the thing that I needed to get me out of the anaphylactic shock, which would have taken me out, all right? And so she gives me the shot, which I never felt. But the thing is it didn't even really take me out of it, just at least kept me from totally losing it. And she later on wanted to come the next day, and her daughters to meet me in the back, and just so they could see that I was alive and I was okay. And I got to videotape their testimony and how God had used that in her life to say, don't be afraid. Don't let fear keep you from being used by God. Go beyond that sometimes. And her children were used by God. The wonderful thing is the guy who showed up the next day there's a train of people coming through our church, and they're all looking at our sign and running it, trying to get healing and trying to get whatever the Pokemon gives you. I got to talk to him about Jesus, got to tell him my story, and he thought it was cool. His name's Nick. He's right down the street here, and I figured, since you're here, why don't can I see it on your phone? Sure. Do you mind if I put the church app on there so you can listen to our messages? Okay. So I put the church app on there in case you're, and you know what? God works all things together for good, all right? The church app is Church Link, loaded on Macs, PCs, your iPhones, iPads, whatever. Church Link, and then look up Georgetown Christian Fellowship, and there you got all the stuff on the app. Was that quick enough?
Good. Hey,